So this was the ball that he scored his 100th goal with against Kaufman.
In the history of boys soccer in Mesquite ISD, only one player has scored more than 100 goals.
They all knew it as soon as he hit it.
The most prolific scorer in district history lived in El Salvador just a few years before setting that record.
When I decided to come to the U.S., when my parents were trying to convince me to come to the U.S., the first thing I told my parents was like, I want to be in a soccer team. So that was one of the conditions for me to try to come to the U.S.
Isai Velasquez lived with his grandparents until he was 12 when he came to the United States. A lot of his creativity on the pitch was developed in El Salvador.
Playing in El Salvador was like, you go out and play with your friends every day. That's one of the main sources of entertainment there.
Putting two rocks together in the street and playing in the street, until a car comes by and you gotta move everything out of the way, so.
As a freshman at West Mesquite,
A little baby-faced freshman.
Isai was promoted to varsity midway through the season.
He scored a hat trick in his very first varsity game against North Forney.
That's when you're like, okay, he's different. He's a different type of player.
Isai was all district as a freshman and every year after that. He was district MVP 3 times, first team All-State as a junior, and second team All-State as a senior.
We had good players during that time, good defenders. With his footwork and everything, he'd take them on.
It was a show. The team, it was crazy just to see what he did.
We're never going to defend him with just one guy. We want him to pass the ball. Because if he passes the ball, he's passing to somebody that's not as good as him.
I didn't care about the goals. I didn't care about the record. I want my team to win. I didn't care who scored. And it just so happened to be me.
So this is our legacy wall. It's something we implemented about 2 years ago. So the first two to sign were Isai and Coach Fig.
Just like Isai, I too came from El Salvador. From a young age, our parents were real firm on us about working hard, persevering, following our dreams, and taking advantage of this opportunity.
My parents, they always pushed us hard and they always said, hey, you need to go to school, you need to try your best, you need to go to college, you need to get a career.
That work ethic was apparent in the classroom too. Isai didn't speak English when he moved here, but he graduated 16th in his class.
I remember having him in class as well, and he just always had the desire to be the smartest kid in the class. We would compete for grades.
His senior year, I chose him as my lighthouse, and each teacher picks somebody that, they had influence on them and vice versa.
Isai finished his career with 103 goals, although it could have been a lot more.
I believe he could have scored 150 goals. He was taken out of the game quite a bit when the score was out of hand.
After high school, Isai helped Richland College to a pair of top 3 finishes at nationals, and he was an academic All-American.
I remember going to nationals and getting to travel, which for me is going to be one of those experiences I'll never forget.
Isai continued his education at Southwest Assemblies of God University, where he earned second team All-Conference honors.
He reminds me of Messi. Messi is just so shifty and quick with the ball at his feet that defenders just, all they can do is foul him.
You can play in the middle with me.
Isai returned to Mesquite ISD as a teacher and coach at Horn High School. He's now the head coach at North Mesquite.
It's a pretty nice little setup.
I know he's going to do great because he does great in everything that he does.
In each stage of my life, I always knew that I had to reach higher. And, this is one of my goals that I finally got to reach and accomplish, and I'm very excited.